should let me love you forever, forever. I wanna love you. Will you let me love you forever, forever and a day, 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 day.
Happy Hump Day! You guys, welcome to TMW Online, the Melanated Way. I am Linda. That is Abby. We are doing a special midweek show because we are catching up on all things 90 Day Fiance The Other Way, Season 7, Episode 21, The Tell-All Part 1. Hey, Jocelyn. Hey, girl. Hey. Abby, I felt like there was a lot that happened, but nothing at all at the same time.
So weird, right? There were a lot of dynamics happening, but my notes are kind of scarce as to substance. But there were a lot of bizarre dynamics occurring.
Right, with no explanation.
Mm-hmm.
No, except for like what you know in real life, in real time. But I was like, this is it's a little weird. We see the arrival of all the couples. And hey, Becca. So, they start off with a bang with Manon and Anthony. Manon's walking in front of Anthony. She's not carrying any of the luggage. One of the things I noticed, I don't know if you noticed as well, is that Manon has a big Anthony tattoo on her upper bicep. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
Becca, I said the same thing. Becca said, Abby, you make that green look gorgeous.
Thank you, dear heart. Maybe I need to wear more green.
Hey, Raydella. Jocelyn will see you. Hopefully everything is okay. It's snowing again where she is, so her car is stuck. Y'all be safe in those East Coast weathers, because woof. I don't envy you one bit. Okay, so yeah, the tattoo. Greta arrived solo. She was eating a burger. I was wondering if it was a vegan burger because, that was her whole storyline. Luke, we see rocking a faux fur, doing his best Hollywood style. We find out he's living back in the United States. And Chloe was already at the studio and she was ready to dish all the tea. So Manon, she's already yelling and bickering and nitpicking at Anthony, Abby, like on the way in the car service, the whole thing. And she's asking him, are you ready to stick up for your wife? And because he didn't answer fast enough, she's like, fine, I'll have my own back. What did you think of her coming out the gate?
It's like coming out the gate and coming from not last episode, but the episode before that, when she was walking around the neighborhood by herself. It's getting really hard to defend her. Like, I wanted to make allowances for her having a different culture and for her being allowed to be a person who goes after what she wants. She doesn't have to fit into the jolly stereotype that we put for bigger people. I wanted to allow her to be a separate person apart from all of these things. But the way that she treats people is very difficult. And it would be one thing if she was harsh and then people could also speak truth to her directly. But because she doesn't allow people to speak directly to her truthfully, then I don't think that you get the right to speak so directly to other people.
I don't want to be one of those people, but I'm gonna. I've called this for a long time. You can't excuse bad behavior. That's it. So let's say hi to Tony. I feel like Tony's new in the live chat. So family, make her feel welcome. Say hi to Tony. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, I feel like she's been problematic. I'm not going to say I told you so, but I sure did. And that was funny.
Listen, I was just exploring all possibilities. Okay.
You know how I always talk about my gut? I talk about my gut all the time on the show. I always go with my gut. And second of all, I'll stick to what you said to me a number of episodes ago. If I don't like you, I'm not going to believe what you say. And I feel like that has really been beneficial to me sussing out the nonsense. Oh, we lost Ab. Oh, she's back. She didn't like what I had to say. Are you there, Abby? Oh, no sound.
Wait.
While she works out the sound.
Sorry, guys.
It's okay.
I think I fixed it. Sorry about that.
We see Greta talking to Luke, and she's already worried about Luke. She's like, Luke, I am worried about you. Is that a real fur jacket? You really are being taken advantage of by Madeline. And he's looked at her because she was, see, that's a straight shooter. She says it how she feels, but she doesn't do it in a way where people feel defensive. And I think that's the difference between her and Manon. Jenny comes in, and you guys, I gotta tell you, I feel like Jenny is just, she's like, I'm kind of done trying in life. Like I'm just done. I barely got on the plane. I mean, if you guys didn't do my hair, this is what it would be like. She showed up in her sweatpants and a sweater and did not change. Everyone was in gowns and outfits for a tell-all. And mind you, she's been to a bunch of tell-alls, so maybe she's just like, yeah, I'm not doing it this time. But I feel like she's really pushed herself over the edge. Like she's just not trying in all aspects. I was like,
No.
does she have like loose joggers on?
Jenny said, I'm going to be comfortable. She said, I don't care what anybody else does today. I'm going to be comfortable.
Yes, Abby, yes. She's going to be comfortable. And she gave zero about zero. I was like, oh, wow. Oh, wow. Patia shows up, and she talks about how her relationship has been a roller coaster of jealousy. That's not the first time. That's funny. We got a lot of new people. Welcome, new people in the chat. Welcome, Nate. Her relationship has been a roller coaster of jealousy, she said. And then if you guys noticed that she didn't have a ring on, and we also know that, obviously she's in the US. So is she living in the US? Is she still in Australia? She's still with Dylan. But she does mention that Dylan chose his mom over her. What were your thoughts about that, Abby?
Dylan had consistently chosen his mom over her. So that's not new for us as viewers to find that out. And no. I don't know why it's new to her.
Right. And it shouldn't be new to her because she's been saying this for 12 years. So like I don't know. Oh. I didn't know that. Apparently Josh watches our channel.
Okay.
That's good. That being said, I want to talk a little bit about Manon's outfit because I talked about Jenny's outfit. So I'm not, I'm not pointing out one, and I'm pointing out all the outfits actually, to be honest. What did you think of her Manon's dress?
So before I watched this episode, I saw Manon give us some background on the designer who did the dress and going to get fitted for it. And I was in love with the gowns that she makes for plus size bodies. It's because it's not just the typical heavy on top with a waist that comes in. She designs for all different shapes. And so I thought that was really neat. So everybody can have something to feel pretty in.
Mm. Do you like the color?
I think that a different color would suit her better. I think typically people always think that red hair goes with green, but in this case, with her complexion, I didn't think it was the best color for her.
Yeah, I felt like if that dress was in like burgundy, black, like bright red, it would have suited her more. I felt like this, like, I can't think of the color name, but that light green was, I don't know. It just, I don't know.
Hmm.
The design was pretty. I just thought that it washed her out a little bit, so I was a little disappointed. But I loved her earrings. I thought that was a great accessory. We also see Anthony make some bold moves against Johnny. Didn't like Johnny. Called him a male bovine excrement. I died of laughter. Go ahead and get some kahunas, Anthony, and you're getting kahunas against, the villain of the show, which is not your wife, but Johnny. I thought that was
Hmm.
interesting. He doesn't say anything to his wife, but he was ready to defend against like toxic masculinity. I thought that was a really interesting choice.
That was not surprising to me. I think that his entire life being a stay-at-home dad, he's probably had to deal with those situations where people come after his masculinity because of being a stay-at-home dad, because of being married to someone who is the way that Manon is. So he's probably quite comfortable with being able to call that out and talk about it.
That's a good point. I never thought of it that way. That's a good point. Via video conference, we see Submit, Matthew, Johnny. Johnny pops on the screen, and the first thing he says is, "Hey, Chloe." And I just felt like that was like a microaggression. I don't know if anyone else felt that way. We see Dylan.
It was rude.
Yeah, it was rude. Then we see Dylan as well. First thing Dylan says to Patia, "It looks like your boobs are hanging out." And I was like, oh, see, that like mask is falling off. If you are able to say that on live international TV, what else are you saying behind closed doors? Like, you literally,
Right.
if anyone wants to talk about being embarrassed and humiliated, let's talk about Dylan and some of the microaggressions that he had towards Patia.
Hmm.
Madeline showed up as well via video conference, and I don't know if she didn't eat all her Wheaties or but she came out swinging against everyone, like, and especially towards Chloe. And that's where I was like confused, because I wasn't confused and I didn't understand what was going on, because I do know the backstory, you guys. But they didn't present the backstory in why they're fighting. So if you guys don't know present day, again, spoiler alert, we got a little hint of it with part one, but there's a whole Luke and Chloe side drama that's happening right now in real life. And I guess Madeline got wind of it way back then. And since the tell-all was already filmed a while ago, for it to be present day drama means it's been going on for a long time. Okay. So basically, Luke likes Chloe. Luke has asked Chloe out, and rumor in the internet world is that they're dating. I cannot confirm that, but that's the rumor, and that's where Madeline's strife is coming from. Sean shows up, and they did the tell-all a little bit differently this time. What were your thoughts on the format, Abby, of this part one?
Don't care for it.
I don't care for it either. It was a little bit all over the place. So
Yeah.
Sean shows up. She doesn't really do a huge intro like she normally does. And she normally goes through each couple. And then we spend time on each couple, all the things. This time,
Hmm.
some anonymous questions. They were super random, in my opinion. No backstory to why you're asking this question. Who did you ask? Did you pull the whole cast, or did you just like last minute ask them? I don't know. It seemed a little choppy.
Right. If you wanted to ask like a little simple, innocent question to everybody, fine. But what's the point introducing a big topic question and then saying, we'll come back to you?
Yeah, it's weird. It was weird. So first question, and again, and even the questions, Abby, were like trash questions. You know what I mean? So first question was to Chloe, are you still scared of the stove? You have all seasoned all the things that have gone on. They've all traveled abroad. They've all had issues in their relationships. And that's the question you're going to ask. Are you still scared of the stove? That was one minor scene. Anyways, let me not get into all the questions. So Madeline laughs at her. Madeline laughs at Chloe and says, you don't know how to do anything. And I was like, oh, she's coming for her right off the gate with no backstory. I was like, that was kind of like unnecessary. And then Johnny starts laughing, and then Manon goes in on Johnny, calls him misogynistic. He tells her she doesn't even know what that word means, which I laughed at. Because I think he didn't know. So when he was trying to ask her to, not to explain, but that's what it was. Well, define what misogyny is. And then she's like, I don't have to answer to you. I was like, oh no, he wants you to explain it because he knows that you're saying it's not something good, but he doesn't know exactly what it means.
Well, first he tried to correct her pronunciation, which I found extremely weird, but it goes with my whole thing that he's not a Reuben. Because why would you, if you're truly from another country, ever try to correct somebody's English pronunciation of something?
Yep.
So anyway, she said it in French, right? Like the accent, like obviously her accent is French, but she said it the way that you would say it in French. So it wasn't even an issue of correcting her pronunciation. So Johnny, you're starting off terribly.
I think Johnny and Madeline are both starting off terribly because there's just, yeah. The next question was towards Jenny and Sumit. And it was towards Sumit. If you had not met Jenny online and you were in India, you ran into her randomly on the street for the first time, do you think you would still have fallen in love with Jenny? And Sumit said, maybe. And then he said, yeah, yeah. Y'all, I was not ready for that answer. I died of laughter. But you know what's funny? He made it seem like he really didn't understand the question, kind of to clean that up. I just thought that was hilarious. Maybe, yeah, yeah.
I mean, he chose her profile online to pretend to be somebody else, so it stands to reason he would choose her in real life.
I suppose. Luke and Madeline, we find out that Luke has moved back to the United States. Greta and Matthew, first time seeing each other since they broke up, which I think was amazing. And Greta says, hi, Matthew. They ask, is it weird seeing each other for the first time in so long? Matthew says, no, it's like seeing an old friend. And then Manon jumps in here a little bit and says, had you nurtured her more, and been kinder to her, it probably would have worked out, right? So that was them. And then Anthony and Manon, we find out that Manon loves being back in the US, but Anthony doesn't. Anthony feels like France is home, so they're completely opposite of each other. I thought that was interesting. What were your thoughts, Abby?
Well, that makes sense to me as well, because he probably feels like there's less pressure on their finances in France from his perspective than there are if they are in the US. Because I don't know, for some reason they think that US is LA and not any other place they could live with a lower cost of living. But that makes sense to me.
Hmm. Becca says, LOL, Manon calling someone out for being nurturing. You're not wrong. Continuing on with the quote unquote anonymous questions. Manon was asked if Anthony still makes her want to die inside sometimes. And I don't recall this scene, you guys. I don't recall it, but she answered at the tell-all that, yeah, sometimes, still sometimes.
I remember this scene. I think that what was happening around it is they were having a very ridiculous argument, in my opinion, over the fact that Anthony felt alone in parenting, which is the same thing that Manon had been saying, but for some reason, him vocalizing it just sent her over the edge. And I think a better question would have been, can you explain what it means when you say that he makes you want to die on the inside? Because perhaps that doesn't sound as extreme to you, like the way that you define that, as it does to us.
I mean,
Like maybe this is there a French phrase that you're translating to this and it's not so severe in French? Because I work with people that we have cultural clashes in the way that English translates. With her overall personality, it's easy to believe that she's just being rude and crude, but maybe it means something else to her.
Maybe. But when then asked, do you love him? She doesn't answer. She's like, ask him. I mean, Abby, like, there are plenty of opportunities, in my opinion, where if she doesn't want to be portrayed a certain way, then she could answer in a different way. Because do you love him is a very easy question to answer, in my opinion. But you're going to throw it back to him. So then people are going to be like, well, that was mean. Like, what do you mean ask him? We're asking you. Right? So I don't know. It just makes it a little bit more complicated. Next question was for Dylan. Their question was very similar to everything that we've all been talking about in the last little while. Dylan's a stripper. Patia's a stripper. They're like, hey, you are a stripper and a plumber, and do you think it's fair that you have these accusations towards Patia about what she does, allegedly, you're saying, after club hours? And they literally said it's like a adult video intro. That's the best way to say it. So, like, what are you talking about? Which is exactly what we've been saying this whole time. All of you guys in the chat, Abby and myself, talking about, like, you're acting like you don't know what that industry is like, but you're in the industry. Why are you being crazy? They reiterate about being in Tasmania. Patia says that she's not there anymore. And she just didn't like the simple life. And Dylan was like, yeah, I'm trying to give her the simple life, but she doesn't like it. And Manon jumps in with that whole situation, right? She jumps in with the stripper / plumber situation. We hear Submit in the background telling her to calm down. And then even Sean jumps in on it and says, what guy here on this panel at the tell-all will you be supporting today? Like, will you be supporting Anthony? And she didn't really answer. What did you think about that?
I thought that was actually a good off-the-cuff question for Sean to ask. And Manon did not rise to the occasion. So now we've seen multiple opportunities where she could have plugged and boosted her own husband, that she's just completely missed the mark.
Yeah, and allowed people to understand like what it is, where she's coming from, and where all of this angst is, because she's not doing herself any favors. I'll say it that way.
Mm-hmm.
So then we get into Chloe and Johnny specifically. We talk about their explosive breakup. Sean asks if they're still broken up. Chloe's like, yeah, we're still broken up. She's back at home. We find out that her mom, who is her benefactor, is moving to Florida, but she's going to stay in Boston. At the time of filming for the tell-all, Johnny and Chloe have been broken up for 7 months. And then they show us a clip of their breakup when, we just talked about this yesterday, so it was fresh in my mind, Abby. And all the red flags that you and I talked about was everything that everyone, all the viewers were concerned about. All the red flags were all the same concerns that the cast had. Chloe said, looking at it, she teared up because she's like, it was so sad to watch it again because she really did love him at that time. And one of the things, again, Chloe, loving everything about you, how you stand your ground for yourself whenever you're attacked, and not in a way that seems crazy, just in a way like we're not messing around. But when she watched the clip back, everything that Abby and I talked about yesterday is exactly what she said. She's like, it took me aback a little bit how he tried to flip the script, which is what we went into in depth yesterday. His whole thing was she was sabotaging his reputation, and she went through his phone. Not the cheating, lying, manipulating, gaslighting, love bombing, et cetera, part. He's mad that she was trying to wreck his reputation on the island, which we talked about yesterday as well. And, you went through my phone. Do you want to add anything, Abby?
I just want to say that Madeline did show that she has some kind of radar, to know when things are right and wrong, as opposed to just acting impulsively. Because she was like, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and agree with Chloe on this one. If you don't want people to know bad things that you did, if you don't want your reputation ruined, then don't do bad things.
Mm-hmm.
So, this whole situation with Johnny, actually, it made me more angry today than I was when we originally watched and talked about it, because I don't think that everyone is taking it as seriously as it needs to be. They're asking him questions about it, like they're showing that and confronting him somewhat, but nobody is saying, do you know how psychologically damaging that was, what you did? Like, I want somebody to be very direct with him and say, if this is how you're treating women, you shouldn't be around women. I want somebody to just be very direct and clear with him. You show no emotional stability.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. I do love this comment from Becca. It really comes across that Manon has unhealed trauma that she needs to work on. It's not healthy to carry that much anger all the time. And I agree with you 100%, Becca. And I think that that's a good observation. They bring up Maria. And Maria said, again, everything that we've all been talking about, right? So she's like, your excuse, Johnny, for saying I'm a guy, you ain't poop. And it was hurtful to watch you talk and treat my friend this way. And then Anthony jumps in and is like, yeah, that was preposterous. You say it's a man thing. Then you say, you say that Chloe means nothing to you, but then you get outside and you're like, let's make this work. And again, those are all the different stages of manipulation, you guys, right? So first you're going to yell at her, then you're going to try to degrade her, and then you're going to try to reel her back in with like some love bombs. Like, let's make this work. And Anthony was one to point that out as well. You guys, there are some serious trauma situations that even outside of being reality TV, words are powerful and people remember words. And these are things that people are going to remember, and I think that Johnny has a lot of work to do on himself. I think Manon has a lot of work to do on himself. And I also think Madeline has a lot of work to do on herself. And I know that our channel has been big on defending her. But at some point, as an adult, you need to take responsibility for your life and what you want your life to look like and how you portray yourself in reality, because how you treat people is also how you're going to be treated. And it may not be manifested in the same way that you treat them. It may be manifested in wherever you have weaknesses or wherever you have insecurities. So, I think that there's room for work on a lot of these people. And I do wish that TLC would offer that. Like, have some backup, have a hotline or somewhere that they can get some resources to, because on top of all their personal issues, they're on an international TV show, and where do they get to put that outlet and get some guidance? Like, that would be a great thing to add. Just throwing it out there. So yeah, Maria is going in on Johnny, and here's the first clue that Luke has something percolating about Chloe, because he pipes up and says that, Chloe's a catch. And as soon as he says that, Madeline freaks out. She gets mad, says to Luke that he's interested in her, and calls Chloe an F bitch. And I was like, oh, you're just like 0 to 100? What were your thoughts on that little section there?
My first thought was when Madeline started to get upset about the whole situation, Luke did not say, oh, you're misinterpreting things. He was just fully cheesing like a Cheshire cat. Second thought was, ladies. And I've defended Madeline a lot. She's young. I understand it. When your partner is not acting right, that is not the other woman's responsibility. You take that out with the partner. You are better off finding allies and other women than you are pushing other women away from being able to help you. Because think about this. You've shown your business acumen on TV. We've seen you be successful. I don't know what's going on now with the business being closed. Chloe is rich. Why not make friends with someone who you're in similar age groups and have a new way to fund your business that doesn't require you to be in a relationship with a man? Both of you get returns on your investment and your work.
Mm-hmm.
You would do a lot better partnering with Chloe as a friend than trying to keep Luke.
Yeah, and it looks, I mean, that just shows a little bit of her immaturity, right? Like, Chloe's single. Luke's the one that's your ex, and he's the one that's interested in her. Why are you going after her? You should be thinking about, like, what is it about Luke? Maria continues to go on that she's not surprised that Johnny cheated because he was cheating the whole time. When asked how many times she thinks he cheated, she said at least 10 times, which was mind-blowing to me. Rebecca says, young girls don't think that far ahead, to your comment, Abby. And I agree. Faizy says, Madeline sees Chloe as a threat and not as an ally. Okay, so he's cheated 10 times. I thought that was disgusting, but also not surprising. We find out that in the beginning of the relationship, both of them cheated. Chloe Chloe said, because, I wasn't really taking it serious and I need to really like work on myself. And he admitted to cheating as well. And then they both decided that they were going to have a fresh start. And that's what they did. And they got into a relationship. But then Johnny cheated again with the girl that he sent or asked for nudes from. And then when Sean asked, after Chloe moved to Aruba, did you cheat? And he said, one time only. He cheated with the nude girl, and he made it seem like he cheated by asking the girl for nudes, but I don't think that that's all it was. What do you think?
I don't think that's all it was either. I don't think so.
And then here's where he continues to try to flip it and make Chloe the bad person. So here's where I could clearly see that his issue is that his reputation, international TV show, is out there for what it is, right? And he's mad about it. So as we know, his reputation is important to him specifically. What does he want to do? He wants to slam Chloe's reputation. And I think that she just handled it very well. And so he goes on to say, not only did Chloe cheat in the beginning, but she lied a lot, and then brings up that he saw in some bank transactions that some guy from her past was sending her a bunch of money and sent her $20,000. And so then everyone started jumping in that she had a sugar daddy. And then Madeline jumped in immediately, started talking crazy to her. Johnny called her a prostitute and a whore. Madeline called her the B word and told her a bunch of just like nasty stuff. And she was like going, ah! And I started to tune out because my note literally says, what's with Madeline? Because she's coming across as mean girl energy, and mean girl energy because you ever this is a question for the live chat, but I'm going to ask it to Abby first. Have you ever had a girl be mean girl energy towards you for no reason?
Mm-hmm.
And it's a weird thing because they don't know you, right? They may look you up and down, but give you like crazy mean girl energy. What I was watching here was Madeline feeling not only threatened by Chloe, but also jealous a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts?
Mm-hmm. No, I mean, it would make sense for Madeline to be jealous of Chloe. And it's okay if she wants to admit that at some point, because then it'll help her get over the hurdle. When you look at someone and you're having unreasonable feelings, sometimes it is jealousy. And if you just ask yourself that, you can move on. She got to grow up in a stable home environment from as far as we know. She got to grow up with her mom, having a close relationship. She got to grow up with money. She got to self-actualize. She got to go to college and think about who she wants to be and what she wants to do and go on adventures and go on vacations. Madeline didn't get to grow up like that. So here's this girl who got to have all these things that I didn't get to have when I have just been fighting to get it out the mud my entire life. And she wants to take away the one thing that I have secured to provide anything for me, which is Luke. Even though it's not perfect, it's my one thing. It makes sense for Madeline to be jealous of Chloe. But if she would just have a realization of what that feeling is, she could then release it, move on from it.
Mm-hmm.
It's happened to me before. Has it never happened to you before? Have you ever realized that you're disliking someone just because you're jealous of them?
Mm-mm.
It's happened to me before. I have been at home, minding my own business, stirring a pot, choked on my own spit, the dang on perimenopause, stirring a pot and wondering, like, why do I dislike this girl? I'm nice to her, in public, but why do I dislike this girl? Oh, I'm jealous. I'm feeling jealousy. I need to work on that.
Mm. That's really good of you and self-aware. I don't know. I haven't experienced that, but we're going to move on. I think that again, what's with Madeline? That was my whole thing, and there's no excuse really. I think that mean girl energy as an adult is just exhausting and unnecessary, and like that meme with the little girl says, "Worry about yourself. Worry about yourself." That's what I feel like is going on here. Like, you need to worry about yourself and work on yourself, and that could be said for a lot of people this season. I love how Chloe stood up for herself. She's like, you know what? This guy was before your time. He sent me money, yes. Sent me money for my nails, my hair, and this. He wanted to send me money. We were in a relationship before. We're not. He continued to send me money. It is what it is. You didn't have any money, so that money was used to pay for our meals out and all the things that we did to entertain each other. And I died of laughter because she's like, I had the money, you didn't have any money, and you then, you wanted to. I'm throwing this in because I see her logic. You wanted to have a traditional relationship where Chloe cooked and cleaned for you and needed to meet your needs, but in the traditional sense, you had $0.0 to be in that same traditional relationship that you were demanding. So you're not bringing home, like they say, you weren't bringing home the baking and the providing, right? As being a pirate on a ship, but you still were demanding the traditional role of Chloe, and then not refusing when she was taking you out whining and dining. Like, I don't get it. I don't get it.
Right. And then like, yeah, that concept of him providing, when he yelled out, "You never paid any bills while you're at my house." Yeah, because you're at the house that your mom paid for. But also the idea of being a traditional spouse, being a financial provider, is not just to take care of the house, but you're supposed to upkeep your spouse in the condition that they arrive to you. So her nails, her hair, her going out, everything, you're supposed to provide all of that. It's not supposed to be you come to me and then you strip down your needs. My opinion.
Yeah, I just find it fascinating. Like, you can't be demanding something and then not providing what you're supposed to provide in that same demand. You can't say, hey, you have to do XYZ and then berate the person for not being XYZ when you ain't doing shit. What are you doing? And then on top of it all, you have the audacity to cheat and then spin it as if she's the evil one. Like, I don't know how, Johnny, you're sitting on this reality show still not taking responsibility or accountability for your actions. You're still trying to make she's the villain. And I'm trying to say, in all the things that you said she's done, what was your role in it? And what did you bring to the table? Because at the end of the day, you're the one that was the liar and the cheater. I just don't get it. So here's where Abby brought up Madeline. Madeline, she's been tearing Chloe apart since the tell-all began, but she agreed with Chloe in this moment where she's like, no, Chloe's not the one that destroyed your reputation. You destroyed your reputation on your own. And I was like, oh, wow. We all agree. We are all in agreement. The 90% of women that watch 90 Day Fiance, the franchise in general, we are all in agreement. You came in and represented yourself. And I was trying to think, Abby, of that Match Me Abroad guy that was just so terrible, so misogynistic. I think he went to Brazil and was expecting to get all these different types of women who were basically, 10 pluses with no flaws, but he was bringing nothing to the table. And the 90-day world tore him apart. We have not heard or seen from him since.
Nope. He closed every Reddit thread that he tried to open. He thought he was going to find support among people for the way that he was behaving. But nope, he went into oblivion, which is great.
Tony. Thank you, Becca. Tony, that's right. And so I dare say, Johnny, I really need you to learn from Tony and start to take responsibility for your actions and your words, because our little strong little, family of 90 dares are not going to have it. You're not going to gaslight, because we've been at this for too long. We've been watching the show for too long. We've seen every type of character, and your character is standing out as the villain because you acted like the villain. Now, can you turn it around? Absolutely. Everyone loves a turnaround story. Everyone loves that. But you need to start taking responsibility first before it can turn around.
Mm-hmm.
Then I was shocked and appalled at this next part. Shocked and appalled. Because Chloe, girl, I've been so proud. You and Greta, I've just been so proud how you've been showing up for the women, standing your ground, and just really doing it in a way that shows like you can still be a beautiful, strong woman and stand your ground and thrive. But then when the question came, and I don't know where it came from, I don't know where Sean got it from. It was like she had some backstory tea that we didn't know about. She asked, how soon after the breakup did you two see each other? Now, you guys, can you replay, Abby, that scene where we were rooting for her? She was taking her bags out. He's like helping her. She's like, no, you don't need to help me. He's like, no, the sooner you're out, the better. And then he was like, we can work this out. And she's like, no, I'm done. And she'd gone into the car. And that's the last we saw, right? Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and then we find out on the tell-all, you guys, part 1, that she went back and stayed at the house. She turned around, stayed the night, had sex with him that same night as the breakup. And then she says, and she doesn't regret it.
So I was caught a little off guard, but then I remembered that when she was watching the episode back and Sean asked how she was feeling watching it, she said she felt confused. At the time that it was happening, she felt confused. Wait, was this my fault somehow? Because of the way he was vacillating and making accusations against her and telling her he didn't want her, to asking why you're acting like that, we can work this out. The way he was switching back and forth was confusing her in that moment. So taking that into consideration, I kind of can see how she ended up back over there. And I'm still proud of her for picking up and leaving the next morning.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still proud of her. I was just shocked and appalled, because he didn't even he deserved zero of you. Zero.
If she had Maria to go over and talk to her, or somewhere to go take refuge and just talk about the things that he was saying, as opposed to just going right back to him, I think she could have stayed away. But in that moment, he some of his tactics worked on her, unfortunately.
100%.
And confused her.
100%. And I mean, dare I say, a little bit later in this episode of the tell-all, you hear someone say, oh, you don't have to have a great relationship to have great sex, right? Which Chloe agreed, and then Johnny's like, yeah, I agree, Chloe. Just gross. But it's you guys aren't wrong. Like, you could be really physically compatible, but also know that that relationship is not going anywhere past that, right? Like that's a something. They go for break. It's commercial break. Anytime they go for break, you guys, it's commercial break. Just thought you guys, if you didn't know, in production terms, that's why they can have so many breaks. It's not like it's a union office thing. It's commercial. And Chloe and Greta are sitting with each other, and Greta's like, is Luke into you? Because he's been staring at you this whole time. He looks super infatuated with you. And she's like, she felt that. Chloe said, oh, I felt that a little bit. He also messaged her and asked, hey, are we grabbing a drink tonight? And that's when Chloe's like, maybe Madeline is sensing some attraction by Luke to her. And that's absolutely what she's sensing. If you're sitting there, if you guys rewatch it, or if you watch part 2, pay attention to where Luke's gaze is. Because anytime they pan to him, he's looking at Chloe. They go for break, he's eating, and he's not even eating with her, he's eating with someone else, but he's looking at Chloe. He's earmuffing her conversation. Like, everywhere she is, his eyes are on her. So Chloe's like, yeah, then if she's sensing that Luke has eyes for me, I could see why she would be jealous of me, and she's not wrong.
Let me see. Because he's exactly, Becca, I was going to say that mom better lock that money down. Yep.
Becca, I wasn't ready for your comment. I wasn't ready.
He switched sides. He was like, the sugar daddy life is not working for me. Let me try being the baby.
You guys are wild in the chat. Wild. Like, you know what? It just threw me off. I can't be watching the chat too much because you guys are having a grand old time over there. Okay. Moving on to Greta and Matthew. I have to say that this was the most in all the years that we have been watching 90 Day Fiance. For me, Greta and Matthew was the cleanest tell-all breakdown I've ever seen. Like, they were both very proper with it. There was not too much of like the ooh back and forth. Like, there was no spark, and not there was no spark. Well, yeah, there was no spark, y'all. Matthew is like just chilling, and Greta is such a nice. Comes across as so nice that she's not gonna like be catty like that. So it was very different. I was like, oh.
It was very civil, but it still revealed some extreme deficiencies on Matthew's part. In fact, I would make the argument that Matthew is a worse partner than Johnny.
Oh.
I would.
Do you want to elaborate on that argument? Yeah. Because I feel, yeah. Do you want to elaborate?
I will. Matthew is unable to say one single thing that he did wrong with Rep in his relationship with Greta. He's when asked if there's anything that he did wrong or could you have cleaned out a drawer, he has nothing to say about it. He says it's unfair. It's unfair what he's being asked. That was his interpretation of it. And at the same time that he's unable to acknowledge anything that he could have done better or anything that he did wrong, he laments that the breakup was too short. It would have been nice to have talked more, to be given more of an opportunity. But you're standing here right now in this moment still telling us that you wouldn't have done anything differently, that nothing would have changed. Johnny is a horrible person, right? But at least out of his mouth, he can say, I should not have asked that girl for those nudes. We didn't see Matthew make one single confession or acknowledge anything that he did wrong.
Okay. I think they're both terrible, but Johnny is more terrible to me. because yeah, yeah.
He's overtly like we see what's terrible about him. It's easier to see because it's him and Chloe are going like this and that fight. It's harder for us to see what's wrong with Matthew because he's quieter, but he's the kind of person that you could be in a relationship with because he's quiet, and slowly they're tearing you down and ripping you apart. They're not comforting you, they're not loving you, they're not responding to any of your bids for romance or for conversation or connection, nothing. And slowly that is going to wear you down. And the whole time, people on the outside will be saying, but he's such a good guy.
No, you know what? I'm gonna agree with you because I just thought about it right now as you were saying that, and he's like the silent manipulator, which if you don't stay on your P's and Q's, then you don't see it. And like Abby said, they start to wear you down. So you know what? 100%. 100% agree with they're equally terrible in different ways. Johnny is a overt manipulator and Matthew's an introvert manipulator. And I just made that up. Okay, so 4 days, Matthew's complaining that was given to the relationship. Greta says the spark just was not there. When asked where she's living now, Greta's living in London. She got a job in an animal movement and the work visa, which is something I wanted to ask you, Abby, about if you know, because it seems like she got that work visa quickly. So would it have been the company, how it works in the US, where the company sponsors her?
So, yeah, this wouldn't have worked in the US because when you have a company that sponsors you, you have to enter on that visa. But she mentioned that she did go and visit Hazel. So my assumption is that she didn't get the job and then stay. My assumption is that she maybe got offered the job and they started processing her paperwork and then she left. And then on entry is when she activates her work visa.
Okay.
That's my assumption because in the US you can't convert from, let's say you enter on a visitor's visa, you don't have enough time on that entry to convert to a work visa. So it has to be like a subsequent entry.
Gotcha. Matt, they hadn't talked. So this is the first since the breakup, she was like, it's done. She didn't look back. So this is the first time that Matthew and Greta are seeing each other here on the tello. Her being in the US and him being, via video conference. And like Abby said, that you guys, I'm gonna just they brought Hazel on the show.
Oh boy, I know you hated this.
I hated everything about it. I said okay, so as you guys know, I in the same industry, and my mind went to, doing a whole production is not cheap. It's not cheap, you guys. It's not cheap at all. And so I want to know whose line item was it in the budget, because everything is budgeted, to send a camera crew or even to spend 20 minutes sending a Zoom link. I just want to know whose idea was that we were going to break off even a little bit of money to air a cat eating cat food on national TV. I want to know whose idea it was. I want to know because even Greta said Hazel's moved on from Greta. She went and visited and the cat was like, yeah, because cats are assholes. So she, Hazel, whatever, that cat didn't remember her. And guess what? This same Greta who was like, oh, I love the cat and the cat and blah, blah, blah. And if you guys want to go back to episode 1, where I was like, well, this seems like some weird codependency. It's weird. I said that. Look at how she moved away from the cat. She's no longer codependent, and she doesn't even care about that cat. She's like, that cat ain't shit. That cat doesn't remember me, and I don't remember that cat. And, oh, by the way, I travel so much, I don't have time for a cat. Do you see how she, like, grew? Do you see how, like, that stupid Hazel was stupid Hazel? And you guys can come for me, I don't care. That cat, this whole cat segment was unnecessary. It was unnecessary. Cat via video. Oh, God. What, like...
Even I thought that it was a little weird. Like, I was just thinking if it was in the house of one of her friends that was also gonna be on camera, it would make more sense. But just like the cat's with a random fourth person.
Who we don't know or see. She, like, no. Anyways, I'm moving on from Hazel to Cat. Glad the cat's doing well. Cat was, voluptuous, so the cat's fine.
You guys are hilarious.
Okay, so then they show the breakup video of Greta and Matthew. And it's the same thing that she's been saying since day one. She doesn't love him anymore. And he's like, oh, you took 4 days and you don't love me. But really, she had 6 months of thinking about it, which, we've talked about in length. He just didn't want to hear her because he's not listening to her because he doesn't value anything that she has been saying. Right. Mm-hmm. So how many times can one person say, I don't love you before you hear them? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So, sorry, you guys, that little joke I made is cracking myself up still. Having a hard time concentrating. I call the cat voluptuous. I wanted to say fat, but I was like, was that mean to say? But then you guys know I don't know. I don't care about these stupid cats.
You just said all that stuff about the cat, and then you're like, but I don't want to call him fat. Like,
right.
You just said...
That's what I'm saying. It doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm. The cat was fat. That cat is well fed and was looking at her like, we're not going back to that vegan mess you give me. I eat bacon over here.
Okay. I've pulled it together now. Okay. Let me stay on the chat. But yes, I said, Becca, remember saying this, okay? I stand 10 toes deep. Remember I want all of you guys to remember that. Okay. All right, I've pulled it together. Okay, where am I?
Have you got down to
the breakup? Matthew is watching the breakup. He's like, it's hard to see it back. He's speechless. It took him like a month to come to terms with her not loving him anymore. And when asked, like, did you guys talk through that? And he's like, no, she never contacted him again. She cut him out of her life, as she should, because like we've been saying, there's something about him that is like she wanted to get out of there immediately, and that was it. And there was, because you know how sometimes you break up and there's a little like wobbling back and forth contact. There was no contact. So I feel like there's more to that story, and I'm sticking to it. And yes, I'm 10 toes deep in that, because just like Abby said, he might be the quiet one, but I think the saying is silent and deadly. Like, you just, you never know. Then we see the cast, and it's interesting to see women and how we respond to other women and their choices. I just find it interesting. So Manon was the first to say, hey, you know what, Greta, I love that you stood up for yourself. Chloe showed her generation, right? Those Alpha and Gen Z. She's like, I would not have ever done that. I would just send a text message and be
like, text messages just as a peace sign.
Yeah. And then I feel Patia showed her age. She was like, oh, I felt so sad for Matthew. But I'm glad that you did what you wanted. Right. So it was very generational.
Yes, exactly.
Very generational. I thought that's what I saw. Because, Abby and I would have been like, and have been, bravo for standing up for yourself. Deuces.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do I think it would have been a text? Absolutely not. That's just, again, that's not my kid generation. But I also wouldn't be like, oh, Matthew, oh, poor you. No. That's like,
Have you ever broken up with somebody or ended the dating with somebody just with a text? Oh, Linda!
What's the question?
Have you ever broken up with somebody or ended a string of dates with a text message?
I heard that part. I was just hoping you wouldn't remember to say it. I have never broken up with someone that was in a relationship via text, but have I done that in dating? Yes. And I'm gonna shout out my friend Sarah. My friend Sarah, happily married for many years, all the things. She really is like my dating counselor in all the years and all the things. She's been there through like the fiancés and the crazy, all the things. And I told you guys I started dating, and dating I just think is trash. Like I just it's just a lot of effort, and it's I'll tell you two things. Okay. I'm going to be open. Okay. Two things. I went on a date with this guy. After one date, he wanted it to be exclusive and asked me, are you dating anyone else? And I was like, well, isn't that what dating is? You're dating multiple people until you're exclusive. And he's like, okay, well, I want to be exclusive. And then I said, well, like, it's been just one date. I can't commit to you after one date. I don't even know you. Like, I don't even know your last name. Like, I can't do it. So then he got mad. And then throughout the week, he was sending me like a bunch of like just stuff. And I just don't want to deal with it anymore. So I just stopped texting him. And my wise friend Sarah said, Linda, you can't just ghost him. You've got to like tell him that you're no longer interested in pursuing this, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, that's so much energy. Like, if I just don't respond to these multiple texts, it should be fine. And she's like, no. And she pestered me to send the text. And so I finally sent a text. And then, Abby, you will appreciate this one. I won't say any names, but I'll say, do you remember the rapper who I sent his music to you?
Yes.
So that whole situation was not for me. But then on Sarah's advice, yes, I keep naming her because I want her to see this. She said, well, send a message and say, hey, you're not interested. You're pursuing whatever. But you know, if you want to remain friends, then that's cool, because he's lovely and I don't have any problems. There was just nothing there.
Mm-hmm.
And so she forced me to also send that text like, hey, this is the thing. So yes, I have done it multiple times.
It sounds reasonable to me, you guys. I don't find that these two occasions were evil or rude or anything like that.
Listen,
I judged you fair.
thank you, because girl, they're lucky they even got that, because I would have just been like, nah. But you know, I'm mature now. Okay. That's enough about me and my personal life.
Greta's friends, yeah?
Yep, we're Hannah, Lainey, and Chelsea. They were like, you know what? They were surprised that they broke up fast, but not really surprised. Where was the attempt from you to make her feel loved, wanted, welcomed, comforted? Any of that? None. You didn't comfort her when she was studying for her bar. You didn't do anything for her. You didn't even open up a drawer, clean out a drawer for her. So, you know, you didn't even do anything. You didn't prioritize her, period, full stop. And now you're surprised that you think it was only 4 days. Well, no, it was 6 months in the making. So they were not impressed and they went at him. And we find out that Greta at the train station, she had a feeling like, no, I don't love him more than just being a friend, which Abby brought up, because if you guys remember, she traveled halfway across the world, took a train. So he didn't even meet her. Here's the other thing, you guys. Okay, girl to girl, I'm going to tell you something. And it might just be me. It might just be my personal preference, but I want this life on you. I think that if you are going to travel to meet a man for a relationship, you're moving to be with someone or whatever, the bare minimum is that they can and should pick you up at the airport. It's the bare minimum. Okay. And if they're not bare minimum, they have to work or some type of something comes up, which I don't get, because when you're planning big trips like that, you know full well in advance. So they can work it out on their end. Now, let's say by some off chance they get caught up, they should be sending some type of car service that picks you up at the airport and drops you off wherever you guys are staying. Period, full stop. When you start flying halfway across the world and then lugging all your suitcases and taking a train and taking a bus and they're friggin' meeting you at their convenience, that is a red flag to me. I'm sorry, because they have not gone out of pocket. They have not gone out of time on their end. They're trying to make you fit into their convenience and schedule, and it's a no-go for me. So I say all that to say, when Greta said that she showed up at the train station and she had a feeling that he's not the one, that was her gut telling her he's not the one. And then to top it off, what Abby has brought up multiple times that just is like the disgusting rotten cherry on the top, is the fact that he then told her that she smelled.
Multiple times.
Okay. If you're watching this back and you're wondering where you went wrong, this is the list of everything that you've done wrong thus far.
Yeah. And all that time you saved by not going to the airport, you didn't even bother to use it by getting her some flowers or something else that you know that she likes that would be unique and personalized to her to meet her at the train station with.
Which is what you and Josler are saying the same thing. Did we even hear an excuse as to why he wasn't at the airport with flowers? Exactly.
No.
Exactly. Matthew thinks all this is unfair. We're all being unfair to him. And here, you guys, so live chat, Hello, live chat. Especially Silver Linings, especially Abby. Sean, the host for many years of 90 Day Fiance and all the tell-alls, Sean said, okay, verbatim, looks like you're 10 toes deep for you. 10 toes deep, not 10 toes down, 10 toes deep. 10 toes deep. Hello? Abby? Hello? Hello?
So what I want everybody say, hey, Sean. Hey, because she's clearly watching the show, because that is not the phrase, but I appreciate you giving us a little, what is that movie where everybody had to go around finding the clues, like National Geographic, National Treasure or something like that? I appreciate you dropping in that little nugget to let us know that you're a patron of our show. Because that is not the phrase. But we love you, Linda.
I'm just saying, you guys, when all the like, what is it that I'm terrible at? I'm terrible at these, whatever these stupid sayings.
Idioms.
Yeah, like, whatever. But I own them, and you guys always know what I mean. And look, now it's international. Okay? 10 toes deep is international. Oh, y'all clowning me. Oh, okay. I wrote that down. 10 toes deep for you.
I did too. I wrote it right there for you.
Yeah, because hello, who else says that? Oh, just me. Yes. Yes.
Question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you believe Matt when he says that he is in a new relationship and it's very clearly his soulmate this time?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna get to that. So, Matthew thinks that it's unfair, and he sounds ridiculous because, again, he's not owning up to any responsibility of why the relationship failed, and her friends continue to point out that you weren't there for her. And when asked, Matthew, are you taking any responsibility? He does not. And here's something interesting, because Sean brings up Greta saying one of the other things that was the issue in the relationship was the sex felt flat, or fell flat. Fell flat. Same thing, if you think about it. It fell flat. It felt flat. Same. And Matthew tried to justify it by saying that he ties sex to emotional intimacy. And Greta said, well, sex is a reflection of your relationship. And let me tell you something, you guys. I already told you. It's important in a relationship. It's important. It's important. It's so, so important. So, yeah. They haven't seen each other since they broke up. He's in a relationship now, long-term relationship. He has a house. He's happy. He says he has a new life and he's in a good place. He met this person online 5 to 6 months after the Greta breakup. And he said he knew within the first hour of the first date that was his soulmate. So going back to what Abby's question was, do I believe that that's a soulmate? I don't believe it, but I do believe this. You know how, okay, ladies, you know how you could be in a relationship with a guy. Let's say you're in a relationship with this guy for, I'm going to make it extreme, 6 years. And he hasn't asked you to marry him. Yeah, maybe you guys live together, but that's it. It's just familiar. You guys have been together forever. It is what it is. And then it seems like out of the blue, you guys break up, right? And you're distraught and you're picking up the pieces for this long-term relationship that is broken up. and then you find out somewhere online, or your friend has run into your ex 6 months later and he's literally getting married that year. Have you ever experienced that? Because it happens all the time. When men are
I
ready,
have not.
okay,
Yeah.
when
But taxi cab theory, I believe it though.
when men are ready to get married, they just insert whatever woman is in front of them. Period, full stop. And I think that that's what happened. So he had set up, right? He was house hunting. He was talking about being double the father, all the things. So he went online, found a girl who was also ready, obviously, to have a relationship. And pow, all of a sudden, he's got the house, the picket fence, and the happy life. I think that that's what it is. I don't think he truly knew what a soulmate was.
I'm not convinced that this person even truly exists. I just feel like if he was truly in a happy relationship, his affect would have been completely different, and that he wouldn't have been concerned with how long of a conversation he had with Greta over the breakup. He would have just been like, oh, it's his heart would have been healed, in my opinion. If I'm in a good relationship, I'm not going to dwell on how somebody else broke up with me. I'm going to be thankful. Thank you for releasing me so I could have moved on to this. I will remember how I felt at that time, but I'm not going to be on TV saying, well, it would have been nice if we could have talked for a little bit longer.
I like that. And Becca agrees 100% with you, Abby. They end with niceties. Greta says, I hope you can move through life more vulnerable, which was a hint into their relationship, if you guys think about what that means. And Matthew says, deep down inside, you're a lovely, beautiful soul, and you deserve deep love. And that was the end of their segment. Then we move on to Anthony and Manon. There's just so much, you guys. Basically, they were trying to heal their marriage, and they thought that moving to France and having a little bit of slower pace would heal their marriage. And Abby and I said this from the beginning, and I still stand by it. See, I shook it up a little bit. I still stand by it. Everywhere you go, there you are. So, I mean, whether you're in Los Angeles or in the south of France, your problems are going to follow you. And I dare say that if you don't address them, they're going to get worse. And so that's where we are here. I'm going to try to just zip through this without giving too much commentary, because we all saw it. I thought that it was a poop show. And it was a poop show because there's so much unhealed marriage, relationship issues here that it's wild. And also, I will say this. I think that Manon spun out. She spun out because she came in believing that everyone hated her and she was the villain. And then on top of that, all of her trauma that she has is unhealed. And then on top of that, if you've ever been on a TV set, a production set, it's a lot of people, it's a lot of lights, it's a lot of time, it's a lot of energy, and it can be overwhelming. So I think she just spun out. She spun out because she was being confronted by her shortcomings, and I don't think she was ready to face them. And I say all that, and I say it in love, because now that I'm looking back on it, the trauma that she carries from her childhood, instead of confronting it, she ran away from it, right? So that it just shows me the pattern of her behavior. She ran away from the trauma of her parents by moving and leaving the country, and she's trying to run away from the trauma of seeing a self-reflection of herself on TV by leaving the production set. That being said, Manon has struggled to settle into her new life. We find out that Anthony's job at the camp was only for summer, 4 months. And then he got a job at a fast food restaurant. He was allegedly only making $900 a month, and Manon made him quit that job, not just because the money was low, but because of the status of working at a low status restaurant. I thought that was really telling about a lot of things. So you would rather have $0 and 0 cents come in than even a small amount that could help with, like, I don't know, food or your light bill, or it will help with something. You would rather have $0 because you're worried about your status. Okay, fine. So she also told us that she is campaigning to become the mayor of the city that they live in. And so I think part of having Anthony quit his low-paying status job is because she's trying to become the mayor, and her husband can't be working in a kitchen at a fast food restaurant. That doesn't look good on her. And everyone was shocked because everyone's like, you're doing what? You want to be the mayor of your city? When asked who would vote for her, the only person that put up their hand was Chloe. Sumit starts saying, well, if you want to be a politician, you're going to need to be a little bit more polite and tactful, because like the way you come at people is like, no one's going to love that. And then when Sean asked Anthony, like, what do you think of, your wife trying to campaign for mayor? He basically said, you have to love the country to be the mayor, and you can't be hating on the city or hating on France. Like, you can't. And so I thought that was interesting. So everyone was basically like, the way you talk about the city and you call the city like the butthole of France, but now you want to be the mayor of same said city, doesn't make sense. And also the way you treat people, you're going to have to try to like tone that down. So they were saying all those things to her, right? Then Sean talks about the relationship and says, this whole season, you guys have been fighting over money, about parenting, about providing, and your living situation. And then they showed a clip. And Manon got emotional about it. If you guys saw, did you notice, Abby, she stopped watching herself? Because the clip they showed was her just screaming and berating every time towards Anthony. Those are the clips. In the car, you're not good enough. In the car, the city is the butthole of France. In the car, the city is the butthole of France. In the car, like the whole thing. And so she got emotional. She turned away and she stopped watching. And Sean's like, I noticed you stopped watching and you're getting emotional. And Manon's like, yeah, I'm at the end of my rope. And then someone, I don't know who said it, but someone said, oh, it seems like you resent Anthony. And she agreed. She does. She does resent him. She feels like he does not see everything that she does for him. And I thought that was an interesting thing to say, because she thinks she's the provider and she does all the things in the relationship. And we've talked about this, so I won't dwell on it. But again, when we talk about being a stay-at-home parent, she doesn't see the value. And Abby and I have talked about this extensively, where because she resents that her mom was a stay-at-home mom and therefore she didn't have all the necessities that she felt that she needed, she resents that, she hates that. And so now her husband's a stay-at-home parent and she doesn't see him contributing anything, because she doesn't see being a stay-at-home parent as holding any value. So she's like, yeah, I resent him because he doesn't see everything that I've done for him and everything that I do for him. And then Dylan says to her, well, he's done a lot for you too. And that silenced her, because it goes back to me what I just said, where she doesn't see being a full-time caregiver to your child is of value. And if you take it back to that last episode where she stayed home for one day with the kid and had a panic attack. As soon as her husband came home, gave the kid back like as if she was babysitting, and then she wanted to take off for a month because she didn't want to be at home and quote do nothing all day for a month. Do you remember all that,
Mm-hmm.
Abby?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's all making sense. It's all compartmentalized into one big box of trauma. So Dylan says, he's done a lot for you. And then Johnny says, you talk over him, you control him. So now people are starting to tell her about herself and she doesn't like it. And so she's like, oh, yeah, okay, just make me the bad woman. I'm the bad mom. I'm the bad wife. I'm the villain. Okay, got it. And then turns and says, he never stands up for me, right? So while all the things were being said about her and other cast members were telling her about herself, she, in my opinion, flipped it and made it about Anthony not standing up for her instead of looking at it as this is how you're coming across to even your fellow cast members. And then to top it all off, they have family conflict. We find out a lot about Manon and Anthony's family. Candace, the aunt, comes on, and Candace is like his second mom. And she's basically like, I'm just here to support Anthony. And we find out that Manon has blocked Anthony's sister from all his social media. She monitors his phone calls. He can't talk to his family, can't talk to Aunt Candace. Can't do anything. And it's because she feels that Anthony has broken her trust. And then by broken trust, they're like, well, what do you mean by that? And we find out that Anthony has to delete messages if he's sending messages to his family. He can't call them because she feels like anytime he's in contact with them, he's talking about her. And her words is talking poop about her. And they give an example that Aunt Candace went to Belgium, moved to Belgium, something like that, was in Belgium, wanted Anthony to go, but Manon wouldn't allow it because she simply did not want Anthony and the aunt to be talking about her. Isn't that wild, Abby?
Yes.
Oh, I thought you would have more to say because it's about travel. Listen, I'll say it. There's no way that if I want to travel and especially travel with family, there's no way that you're going to tell me I can't go and be with my family because you're worried that I'm going to talk about you. You know how crazy and narcissistic that sounds? It's wild. That is wild behavior.
Right.
Wild.
As if they don't have other things that they could potentially be talking about. Like,
right.
There's a lot of subject matter that can come up, but even if they are talking about you, you are a part of Anthony's life. So I think it's normal. Like, I don't think that you would get together with your family and just start ragging on me, but I do think it would be normal that we would come up in conversation. How's our life going in France so far? How's Benjamin doing? Like, I think that would be normal conversation.
Yeah, and what's not
So
normal? Go ahead.
The way she acts before Aunt Candace even comes out is it's just ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah, it's something. It's very controlling, and this just was over the top. So the way it was sounding when she said, he broke my trust. Sean was like, oh, well, what's Anthony being unfaithful? And she's like, no, it's not about cheating. He just makes me feel like a big bad person. And so that's what makes her feel that he broke her trust. And when Anthony is asked, he's like, well, I feel like I can't voice my opinion, which he can't. So he's like, I have to sneak around and talk to my family because you freak out every 5 seconds. I can't voice an opinion because you think I'm saying something against you. But really, Manon, he's just trying to explain to you his point of view, and you're never like I've said this all season. Anything he does makes you angry. You're never satisfied. Anything he does, it's wrong. That's exhausting. And a lot of you guys in the live chat and in the replay, a lot of our audience has even been like, why does he stay? Like, what is it? What is he staying for? Manon, it's break. They take a break, and Manon freaks out and says she's done. Which we've heard the "I'm done" business. That's like the infamous phrase for 90 Day Fiance. She wants to leave, and she goes backstage, and she's like, "Get me out of this dress, or I'll tear it off. I'm done being humiliated by everyone." She blames Anthony. And says that he doesn't think of the consequences for his wife, and then literally screams out that we're going to divorce. And everyone is hearing all the things she's saying. Chloe comes in to try to like settle the situation down, but she's already in her street clothes. Luke is like, "Do you want to stay?" Awkward pause, and she's like, "No," and walks out. She's screaming at production to get the cameras out of her face. Like, she went full-fledged meltdown.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the tell-all part 1. Do you want to add anything? You think I missed anything in there?
I don't think you missed anything, but I do want to say that I thought when everyone was talking to Manon in the beginning about her running for mayor, I thought that was a moment of pure, genuine feedback. I didn't think anybody was taking shots at her. I think that they were seeing in her the potential that she has to do a good job as a politician, and just trying to help her, soften the edges a bit. Because I found that to be like constructive things to say to her. Here's the question that I wish that Sean would have asked her when she was complaining about Anthony's job and how much he made and the status. What job did you expect him to get in France as you guys were packing up your home and moving? What job did you expect him to be able to get to earn the money that you felt you need to live on? That's the question that I would love for her to answer.
I agree. I would love to know that too. What would make you happy? What does Anthony need to do to make you happy?
Because it's not like he's going to move over there and become an HR manager or a supervisor of something without speaking the language. And with his past, how old has been? 3-4 years old? The past 3 or 4 years of no work history? Like, what were your expectations that you feel like it's reasonable to rag on every job this man gets?
Yep. Agreed. That's part 1, you guys. We'll be back with part 2. Thank you guys for being here. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And we love y'all. We'll see you soon. Bye.
That's the other one. Is that one?
Yeah. This one?
The little Korean heart one. I'm doing it. That's all it is. Bye.
Bye.